Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk. I'm joined by Abbas
Doing.
and Solomon.
Yeah, what's going on?
Let's talk some NRL, boys. Now, before we do, I want to remind everyone: if you like what we have to say, please subscribe to our channel, leave a comment down below, like the video, check out our Insta, our Twitter. All of it will be linked in the description below. And yeah, let's get started. Big news coming out. I think 2 days ago, or whatever it was.
Yep.
Be My Valentine Holmes is back in the NRL.
He's back.
He's back. 6-year deal with the Cowboys. 5.7 million reported. He got cut from the Jets pretty much, 3 days ago or 4 days ago, whatever it was.
Yep.
Within 2 days, had a contract with the Cowboys. What do you guys think? What's your thoughts?
Massive coup. Like, everyone was talking about it during the year that it might be a possibility. If he was able to come back, he'd go back home to North Queensland. But, yeah, now that it's actually happened, yeah, it's a great buy for them. They've been irrelevant since Thurston retired. Only last year retired. I was saying to you boys before, it feels like 5 years since he retired. That's how bad they've gone, the Cowboys. But yeah, it's a great get for them.
Yeah, obviously he's a big name. You know, he's going to add something to the Cowboys. But do you think it's going to change anything for the Cowboys this year?
I think at the back they've struggled to fill that gap. They tried
who was fullback
last year. I think.
Oh, this season. Last season I just went.
Okay, so I think they started with Drinkwater. They started with Morgan. They tried to put him at the back, put Clifford in the halves. Then they bought Scott Drinkwater from Melbourne. Apparently, before he got injured in Melbourne, he was going to be the number one fullback there. Then he did his peck and went to the Cowboys, and he did okay. He's a good player, but he's not someone that you put the bank on to take you to the finals. Valentine Holmes, he's still in his prime. He hasn't even hit his prime. He hasn't hit his prime.
Young, very young.
Valentine Holmes?
Bro, he was fullback for the Sharks the last 2 years.
For the last 2 years?
At the start, there were questions because he was dropping the ball. He kind of didn't understand the role. Everyone was saying he's a way better winger than a fullback. All that talk, but in the last year, just before he left 2018, he changed all that talk, man. He was probably Sharks' best player that year.
It shows you the intent of the Cowboys, because you mentioned all the changes they made to their backline and wanting to play. I forgot who you said. Sorry, who they play at the fullback?
Scott Drinkwater.
Yeah, no, after that,
Michael Morgan as well.
Michael Morgan, sorry. So it showed they were going after Latrell Mitchell as well this season. They were trying to get him to sign for the next season.
It's still a thing. Like the coach Paul Green, he confirmed that they were still trying to get him, or they're still chasing him.
Yeah, officially though they removed their $1.6 million offer for 2 years off the table to get Valentine Holmes. So it shows that they're thinking that we need someone big in that back line.
It might have scared Valentine, to be honest, because they saw that someone else was getting offered that money, and he had to make a decision whether to stay or go. But the problem with the Cowboys this year, they never settled on a spine. That's what I'm trying to say. I think Valentine Holmes answers one part of that. Man, if they get Latrell as well, I don't know, man. That's a massive.
It'll be difficult with salary cap.
Look, it is difficult, but I think they've let go of a lot of players as well. So
do you think they need Latrell though, or do you
depends where they play him.
I feel like Morgan is not up to standard.
Yeah, I mean, based on this year, I agree.
Even previous years, his form's been in and out.
When Thurston got injured in 2017, he went on that run to the grand final. Yeah, I'm saying is at that point you're like, far out, man. Without Thurston, he took him to a grand final. The next year, the expectation rose. People figured out how he played, in terms of how to carry a team. He's been unsuccessful so far. I think maybe Valentine Holmes might take a bit of pressure off him because there'll be more attention towards him. Latrell, man, if they get him, like you said, it depends where he plays. I mean, I personally think he can play anywhere. He can play 5'8", centre, fullback. You can put him. That's how good of a player Latrell Mitchell is.
Yeah, but I don't think as I love Latrell.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's somebody that they need right now. I think they should be looking for a halfback, somebody like a floor general kind of thing.
But how many is there out there? You know what I mean? It's very, very difficult in this day and age to find a really good fullback.
Commit for a long time with Latrell.
Well, they got the young kid. Jay Clifford. Look, he showed glimpses this year, but I'm not convinced he's the kid. He's the guy to take him forward 100%. He's got to prove himself as well.
Fair enough.
Any questions about Valentine Holmes? Because a similar thing happened with Hayne, right? Went to America, tried out the NFL, did well there,
He was a bit older.
got cut, was older, came back, and when he came back, he was pretty much a shadow of the man that he was when he left. So, is there any type of, I guess, concern that the Cowboys should have that maybe this might be the same thing with Valentine Holmes?
I don't think so. I think, like I said, Hayne was a bit older, so him going over to NFL was kind of like a his last swing at the dream of becoming an NFL player. And when that failed, I think that discouraged him a lot. When he came back to NRL, it was just more of a money source for him when he came back to NRL. With Valentine Holmes, he's much younger. He gave it a shot, didn't work out. He's still got Origin ahead of him. He's still got, playing for Australia ahead of him. He's got a bright future ahead of him, So I think he's still going to be hungry enough to play his football to the best of his ability. How good is he going to be with the Cowboys? It's going to be tough because the Cowboys didn't go that great this year. But yeah, I guess it's all gonna come down to him as a person, see how he takes coming into a new club, and yeah, I guess we'll see. I think he will play good this season. I don't think he'll be a standout this season though.
I think the Cowboys are trying to push on or push over the old players. That team, the team that won in 2015. There's still players there. Matt Scott, I think, retired at the end of this year. Scott Bolton got moved on. There's a few players, but they still got Taumalolo. Taumalolo, for me, man, he's the top 3 player in the world. Still to this day. Hey, look, I know that the load was heavy on him this year, and these other players to step up. But when you got a guy like that leading your forward pack, and you got, you're adding to your back line that was pretty poor pretty poor this year. It's just going to help, man. Valentine Holmes is, again,
going to play off his hip, just bust through and offloads to him. That's
100%, man. And I just think Valentine, I don't know how long it's going to take him to get back to that 2018 form that we saw. But again, like you said, the age, it's a massive factor. He's still young. He's still got another 10 years, I reckon, in the game. But, assuming he's healthy.
So you're not worried about any motivation dramas, nothing?
No. I think, if anything, he's going to try and prove to everyone that he's back. Because, again, he's got to come back and try and regain his rep jersey in Queensland and Australia.
How long was the contract for?
6 years.
Ooh. So he's secure for the next 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
That might discourage him.
It depends. Again, it depends.
The only reason why I say that, right, is because when you go to America to play NFL, whatever sport it is, their system there is so different to Australia's, right? And you get sort of caught into the Hollywood of it all, right? I mean, the camp and the drama of it, and there's so much media around, all that kind of stuff. You feel like you've stepped up to a different level when it comes to sport, and then to come back to Australia where it just doesn't feel the same, The drama of it,
Townsville's no New York.
Exactly.
I know what you're saying.
Exactly.
But it is home. So you don't know. Maybe the fact that he's playing at home with family close by, that might encourage.
That's a massive factor. Plus the Cowboys open a new stadium. So again, they've
fit 22,000.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure. No, it's a big stadium. I'm not sure about how much it fits. But again, I feel like he's not coming into something that's old and run down. Like, they've put a lot of money into it. You know what I mean? The Cowboys into making what do you call it? Far out. A house of excellence, a centre of excellence. That's what I was trying to say. And in the stadium, they think big things are coming there again. So, look, he knows their intentions are big. I don't see him as someone that's going to disappoint them. You know what I mean? I see him as a greedy player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Even he commented about all the stuff about coming back, whatever. He said, "Look, I feel stronger, I feel faster, I feel more agile. I have to work on my fitness definitely because they asked him in America to put on a bit of muscle.
Yeah,
and he feels like I got to come back now, work on my ball skills and whatever. But he himself has said that, I'm ready, I'm pumped, I want to play, I want to get back into it, and." Yeah, I think because his age plays a big, like you said, Abbas, plays a big factor in him being ready, You got to also remember, these players in any code, right? They don't play the game because it's a job. They play the game because they love the game, right? Young players.
Sorry?
I wouldn't say old players. I'd say young players, you're right. Older players, I think, play and it's a job for them.
Look,
the more you go into your career, the more you start
to
seeing
people that are retired, and they'll tell you that they missed the game too. So the fact that he has been gone and he hasn't really played much in NFL, he's coming back. He hasn't played NRL for a long time. You know, I know players that play NRL, and when when you're through the season, they're just like, wow, we're so done. I'm ready for off season. I want to have a break. 2 weeks into the off season, they're itching to play rugby league again because they just love it. That's what they do. It's who they are. They've been doing it since they were 5 years old, 6 years old. So the ambition and the hunger to get better and go back to his top form, it's gonna be there because he's missed the game. I don't know how long it's gonna be there for, but it's gonna be there at the start. And unfortunately, he's gonna get a lot of attention get put on him at the start because he's signed from NFL back to NRL, and that was probably the downfall of Hayne. Remember Hayne Cam?
Hayne Cam, first game he came back.
First game he came back, they had literally a camp sit on him the whole time. And that was his downfall because he didn't play. He didn't perform the first couple of games, and then those first couple of games went into half a season of not performing, and then a year of not performing, and then pretty much not being able to find a club after a couple of seasons. So it all depends on how he performs, how the Cowboys perform too. But yeah, I just want to say, he played really minimal football over there, so he's very fresh. And I guess fresh and itching to play,
bro. And I feel like that's enough motivation at the start for him, to perform well. He wants to prove people wrong. People probably think his stint in the NFL was a failure because he didn't make the main squad. So he's got a lot, like you said, he's got a lot to prove, man. If anything, motivation, money aside, if you're an elite player, and someone that, wants to make it to the top of your game, you want to prove people wrong at the end of the day.
Any sympathy for the Sharks? I mean, they got nothing out of...
They got Sean Johnson.
What did you want them to get out of it?
No, I'm saying he left him.
He left him
right?
while on contract or off contract?
I think at the end of his contract.
So
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
Yeah, but it was towards the end or whatever it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He gave no reassurances, nothing. He left. He comes back, doesn't go back to him, goes to... I don't know.
But they were never going to afford him, so I don't get it. Like, they were never going to pay him that money. So he probably did hear out what they had. I'm sure he heard out what they had, but it wasn't as good as the Cowboys offer at the end of the day. But again, they moved on very quickly from him. They signed Sean Johnson.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can't really say, is it stacked for the Sharks? He's, Cowboys could offer something that Sharks couldn't. That's his hometown.
It's rubbish, all that talk about Cronulla waiting for him. Stupid, man.
Who cares anyway?
I know.
All right. Speaking of transfers, speaking of Sharks or whatever, we have a few rumours. Some of them have already been done.
I think they're already done. Some of them,
ones, but Latrell, that rumours.
Oh yeah, that as well. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the done deals, right? Some done transfers. Api Coruscant to the Panthers.
Massive signing, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm not just saying it because you know him, you're his mate, his best mate. No, I'm being honest. No, in all honesty, that's where they lacked this year. They had about 5 dummy halves this year, the Penrith Panthers. This guy for Manly this year, he was unbelievable in their run this year. No one thought they would make the finals, Manly. All right, and I know everyone talked about Manasseh coming off the bench, having a massive impact, but he doesn't have that impact unless Uppy does the hard yards there. All right, and puts him in good position. It's a massive signing for the Panthers. Again, talk about a spine. They never settled on a spine last year, the Panthers. They kept swapping. That number 9 role is his. And,
it's underrated.
Man, yeah, I think so. And he's got a lot to prove this year.
Look, with Uppy, I feel... Don't start. With Uppy, I feel like a lot of his success goes with the forwards, right? He knows how to get the forwards going. And that comes down to the game plan. Des Hasler's game plan. Look, this is why Des is such a good coach, right? He identified that, the strength that he had was his forwards. He had Marty Tapau, Fanua Blake. Who else did he have? He had Joel Thompson, Sirenen.
Waddell.
What's the other guy called?
Gichevsky,
yeah. So he was really stocked up on forwards, Des Hasler, and he used that to his advantage. Uppy is really good at manipulating the ruck, getting the markers out of the play and letting the forwards pretty much, eat up those yards at, in the middle of the field, and then Cherry Evans and Dylan Walker or Cade Cusp
Cast, yeah.
Work off that. So it all depends on how Ivan Cleary wants to play his game. If Ivan Cleary wants to play it, because he's got a good hooker with him. Api Curacao 2-3 years ago was in contention to be in New South Wales alongside Damien Cook. Damien Cook has cemented that right now.
Even more recently, yeah, he was in the talk, man.
He was in the talk. So if Cleary can identify that he's a high caliber hooker and he can play and get his forwards going, because Api can get those forwards going. If he can get them going and let Nathan Cleary play off him, I think they'll be successful.
I think Ivan Cleary signed him back in 2015.
He did.
And he didn't really get a proper go because by the end of the year, they'd sacked Ivan Cleary and then Uppy moved on. But again, he thinks highly of him. He knows how important he is to a team. They showed glimpses at the end of the season, the Panthers, that, again, if they settle on a team, they're pretty good. And, man, the dummy half position, it's so underrated in the game today. You can't find many good dummy halves out there. Man, it's gonna make them a finals contender for sure.
How about RCG and Ryan Matterson?
Who's RCG?
Who's RCG? Sorry.
Regan. Do you don't remember, eh?
Regan
Campbell Gillard.
Of course. And Ryan Matterson to the Eels.
Mate, on paper, it's a massive 2 signings. On paper.
Parramatta are notorious for looking good on paper, but not performing in the regular season.
They upgraded their 4-pack. They got Sean Lane. They got Nathan Brown, Junior Paulo. Man, they've upgraded, but again, I go back. They probably sacrificed some depth there for Parramatta. But if you base it on the last season, Regan Campbell-Gillard hardly got a...
Was there much of an upgrade letting go of what's his name?
Manu Ma'u. Compared to Ryan Matterson in his season, he was a standout for the Tigers. He was their best player at the Tigers. But again, he left, on really questionable circumstances, over money. He was motivated by different things. Maybe he believed his own hype. I'm not sure. I think he's a really good player. He was 18th man for New South Wales. Did he play for New South Wales?
No.
I can't remember, but he was there. He was there in the running. But and Regan Campbell-Gillard, before he broke his jaw 2 years ago, he was the number 1 prop in New South Wales. Like, hands down. After that, his form's gone really, really down. Again, on paper, it looks great. And they look like, if you're going to base it off their season this year, they look like a premiership contender. I don't think so, personally, but on paper, they do.
How about Isaac Luke to the Dragons? Abbas?
Yeah. Isaac Luke's coming towards the end of his career. He's looking, just... I'm not sure what motivates Isaac Luke at the moment. Do you think it's just he's just trying to get another 2 years of his career and then call it quits, or do you think he's still trying to make New Zealand and trying to? Do you think when's the next World Cup?
2021.
2021. Do you think he's looking at that and trying to make the cement that hooker role for the 2021
I think Brandon Smith's got that role for the next 10 years, to be honest.
But if he has a breakout season...
Yeah, but again, he's going to a team that was so poor this year, the Dragons. I mean, after the season they had the year before, making the second week of the semis, man, they finished, 14th? And that squad, you know what I mean? And, Cameron McInnes, all the talk about him. Ben Hunt, I mean, surely on paper, again, it's a paper team. On paper, they look great. And Isaac Luke, I guess he's going to accept that veteran role on the bench, come on, do a job for the team. On paper, it looks like a great signing. But again, the Dragons are poor this year. I don't trust how they're going to go next year.
So do you think that Dragons didn't trust Cameron, or they lost confidence in Cameron McInnes? That's why they signed Isaac Luke? Because he was playing 80 minutes for the last 3 seasons. So what was the need to get Isaac Luke?
Again, I'm not sure, because to be fair, he was probably their best player in a poor team, Cameron McInnes. No one else performed.
Duffy?
No, he got dumped to New South Wales Cup mid-year. Again, they were so poor this year. I don't know why they're trying to strengthen that. I know Widdop left. So, again, that's a big game player. I guess...
Where did he go, England?
And back to England. I guess Corey Norman and Ben Hunt are going to be the halves. I don't know where they're going to go, man, honestly.
Jaden Brayley to the Knights.
Again, another team that couldn't settle on a on the hooker position. Again, a lot of teams are just trying to fill.
Where's Levi?
I'm not sure, man, but they were never committed to him. I'm not too
I
sure.
don't know why, because he had glimpses of where he showed it,
He was playing for New Zealand as well. So, again, I'm not too sure what happened there. But Brayley, he was solid for Cronulla. I don't see him like a superstar, like an uppie to the Panthers. I don't see that kind of impact. But, again, they were poor this year. Another paper team expected to make the finals. Remember they smashed the Roosters round 12 at home? They were coming fourth.
Yeah.
Everything after that,
look,
downhill.
Newcastle, ever since Johnson's gone, they've never been anything to look at, really. I think we should just get rid of him.
As a franchise.
I'm just cheering on my mate. He's sitting on the couch. He's angry. Yeah, look, on paper, Newcastle need to perform this year.
And they got a new coach. And they got the main assistant coach from the Roosters, Adam O'Brien. You'd think he's going to make a difference.
Let's be honest. No one coaches the Roosters except for Cooper Cronk. Okay?
He's a coach now. He's a coach now at the Roosters.
Trent Robertson, ridiculous statement.
That's ridiculous, bro. Trent Robertson's a great coach.
Yeah, you've got to say that, haven't you?
Nah, man, he is. Hey, back-to-back premiers.
And finally,
up the Roosters.
Finally, Latrell Mitchell to the
To
TBA.
To be announced.
To be announced.
Man, he's been linked to 10 clubs, man. I'm not too sure.
He's just kicking back.
The media, you know what? They're hating this. They hate this so much. They can't get it. They don't know what's going on.
They're
so what?
it, but love you at the same time because the story continues to drag.
Yeah, but again, they start slandering him for what? Just
So
because
that's
again, I
taking
go
his
back to the Kawhi comparison. Kawhi played chess with everyone.
That's
Everyone
Kawhi
else
Leonard-
playing checkers.
Kawhi Leonard from the NBA.
And he got praised. Oh, what a move. Oh, what a gutsy move to make the Lakers wait, blah, blah, blah. In the NRL, your character gets questioned. It's rubbish.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Latrell Mitchell's not making moves like Kawhi Leonard. Like, he's not going to...
No, but I'm saying he's just keeping it on the low. No, I'm saying he's keeping it on the low.
Yeah, he's taking his
Man,
time.
if he goes to the Cowboys,
I agree,
bro, they become relevant again.
Who's favourites? Who do you think is
Why would
favourite?
he go Cowboys, but...
Look, I don't know. Again, I'm not too sure.
What
Maybe to get away
attracts
from
him?
the media. Maybe to get away from the media in Sydney.
Who's the favourite for Latrell Mitchell?
Look, the only solid thing that we've heard, I don't care about the media reports, is that Paul Green said that they're still chasing him. I don't know how legit it is. Maybe he's just saying that because he doesn't want the whole story, the whole narrative to say we only offered Latrell to get Valentine to bite. You know what I mean? But that's all we've got to go off. He was linked to the Tigers as well, $1 million. The Dogs, I don't know, man.
You're saying Cowboys. For you, it's Cowboys.
Right now, Cowboys, man.
What about you, Abbas?
Cowboys or Tigers?
I heard Tigers. I've been hearing
It's
Tigers.
all speculation at the moment, so you can't really... Like, even Paul Green at the moment, does he have enough in his salary cap to offer what Latrell wants?
We don't know.
Apparently, they're going to offer him $1 million. I don't know. It doesn't look like it.
How much
Exactly.
is Tamalolo on?
Tamalolo's on $1 million. Morgan's on $1 million. Valentine's on $1 million.
Morgan's on $1 million.
Morgan.
He should be giving half of his money to charity.
I think Morgan's on $1 million.
Wow.
Good chat.
You're
so over.